I'm sorry, sir. I know he's got all these things. Thank you so much.
The man who chained a woman to his floor.
Mrs. May was chained Jonna Wilson by the neck inside a home with no running water or access to food.
Welcome to the Four Eyes of Law. It's August 16th, right around 7 o'clock in the evening. Louisville Metro Police officers Roach and Isaacs are sent to the 1700 block of Bowling Avenue. The call, a woman screaming for help, not from her, but from the neighbors. One of them later tells officers it was a little girl on the street who heard the hollering first and ran and got the adults. Two patrol officers, answering what sounds like an ordinary noise complaint, are about to walk into one of the more disturbing scenes Louisville Metro has worked in years. Watch what the officers find when they get there. The entire first floor, every window, is barricaded from the inside, not locked, barricaded. That's the detail that changes how police treat a call like this in real time. A locked door is somebody's business. A barricaded house with a woman screaming inside is a different problem entirely. And it's the reason these two officers don't just knock and leave a card. They start looking for another way in. So they go up. Bodycam catches an officer spotting her through a window, bruised, banging, trying to get their attention from a room she can't get out of. Another officer arrives. Somebody goes for a ladder. This isn't a slow-moving welfare check anymore. This is a rescue in progress, unfolding in real time on two officers' chest cameras. And here's the moment this entire case gets built around. Officers get a window open, get eyes into that bedroom, and find her, chained. Not tied, not held down. Chained with a padlock around her neck, bolted to the floor of her own bedroom. Officers also notice something else while they're in there. Several rooms downstairs are nailed shut. They can't get them open that day. It's a detail they'll come back to later, because a house that's built to keep somebody in doesn't happen by accident. It happens on purpose, over time. Listen to this exchange. An officer is literally swinging a hatchet at hardware bolted into the floor, and you can hear her tell them, through tears, that you need a key just to get in or out of that room. That's not a chain somebody grabbed off a bike rack during a fight that got out of hand. That's hardware, installed with intent. That's planning. And when this case eventually lands in front of a jury, that one distinction, planning versus a moment of rage, is going to matter enormously. Let's move on. And if this video has told you something you didn't know, tap the bell and hit that subscribe button. Bolt cutters finally get her free. EMS treats her on scene. And once she can talk, she tells officers this wasn't a stranger, it's her ex-boyfriend, someone she shares a 1-year-old daughter with. She says he's cut her hair off with a machete after an earlier argument, that she's been threatened and controlled for weeks inside that same house, and, though it doesn't come out fully until much later, that he's been forcing her into something far worse than anyone standing on that porch realizes yet. 2 days later, neighbors spot a truck they recognize back in the area. Officers roll up, and 36-year-old Moises May is taken into custody. On camera, he tells police it's just him and his girlfriend who live there, and that whatever she told police about being chained is drama. He's calm. He's dismissive.
As soon as I seen him lock the door, I knew I wasn't going to get out.
Last week, Wilson shared her story of survival with WDRB.
For the first time, we're seeing the moments before officers and firefighters rescued a Louisville woman who was chained to the floor of a home.
I went around, looked in the window, and she was, I could see the chain around her neck. And
every single window was bolted shut, every single door had screws in it.
And within a matter of months, prosecutors are going to prove almost every word of that denial wrong in front of a jury. Here's where the story most people saw online just stops. May is charged with kidnapping, first-degree wanton endangerment, assault, terroristic threatening, harassment, and intimidating a participant in the legal process. He pleads not guilty. In early 2024, a judge reviews the facts of this case and declines to lower his bond, a signal, even that early, of how seriously the court is treating what happened inside that house. Then, in April of 2025, this case goes to trial, and the first officer on scene takes the stand. He describes in front of a jury using a hatchet to cut Joanna Wilson free from a padlocked chain bolted to the floor. Prosecutors play the body cam for that jury, Wilson crying, hyperventilating, walking officers through a house where she says she never had a key. "He never let me in there," she tells them. "You had to have a key to get out." There is nothing theoretical about that testimony to a jury. They are watching it happen, in real time, in her own voice. On May 1, 2025, a Jefferson County jury convicts Moises May of human trafficking, kidnapping, and harassment with physical contact, 5 counts total, after roughly 3 hours of deliberation. Because trial evidence showed this wasn't just a relationship that turned violent, it showed May forced Wilson into commercial sex with multiple men over several weeks, then chained her by the neck and barricaded that home, leaving her without food or running water for about 5 hours before she finally kicked out a window herself. The jury recommends 35 years. On July 2, 2025, a judge sentences Moises May to 30 years in prison. He'll have to serve 20% of that before he's even eligible for parole. Wilson doesn't attend the sentencing. May's defense declines to comment. In an interview after the rescue, Wilson said, "One thing that stuck with me since I first read this case file: it's hard when you think you know somebody and you don't." That's the whole case, in one sentence. And if you value serious, academic, street-smart, legal analysis, bang that subscribe button and join the 4 Eyes of Law. Now here's the part I want you to leave with, because it's bigger than one bad man in Louisville. This was the first jury conviction under Kentucky's newer human trafficking statute in Jefferson County, and the first sentencing to follow a jury verdict under that law anywhere in the county.
Jonna Wilson in tears as she talked to WDRB back in 2023 in front of the Louisville home where she was chained up inside.
The man who kidnapped her is now headed to prison. WDRB's Stefan Johnson tells us about the sentence the judge handed down today.
Behind me in court on Wednesday, the judge sentenced Moises May to 30 years in prison. The victim wasn't in the courtroom, but prosecutors had a lot to say.
She testified at trial. It was a horrific experience. I mean, people all around the world saw the video of her being rescued by LMPD officers with a chain tied around her neck, or chain locked around her neck.
Statewide, it's only the second conviction of its kind, period. That matters, because prosecutors don't just have to prove somebody got hurt in a case like this. They have to prove control, coercion, commercial sex, tied to a real person, in front of a jury that has never once seen this specific statute applied before in that courthouse. Every jury instruction, every piece of evidence, every argument the prosecution made had to work without the benefit of a long line of prior verdicts to lean on. That's what makes this a precedent case and not just a headline. This case is the blueprint other Kentucky prosecutors are going to study the next time. They've got a trafficking case that doesn't look like a stranger snatching someone off the street, because most of them don't. Most of them look exactly like this one. Somebody the victim knows, somebody the victim loves, somebody she even shares a child with. If you're only watching for the monster, you're missing the legal precedent. And the legal precedent is what protects the next victim. Now tap that subscribe button and check out this next video.